Avicenna, also known as Avicenna, was born in or around 980 AD in the village of Afshana in current-day Uzbekistan. He became a Quran Hafiz by age of 10, meaning that he memorized the Quran, and he overtook his teachers by age 14, and for the next few years devoted himself to Muslim jurisprudence, philosophy, and natural sciences. During the time he also studied logic, Euclid, and Ptolemy's Almagest. Avicenna was an extremely religious man who dedicated himself to the Muslim faith. By 16, he dedicated himself to health science, and by 18, he was recognized as a reputed physician. By age 22, he was lecturing on astronomy and logic, and he died at the age of 58 after serving a military leader as a physician and general literary and scientific consultant for 10 years.
Avicenna contributed to philosophy in many ways. One of Avicenna's philosophical thoughts included the proof of God's existence. Proof of the truthful is a formal argument he presented in many of his books, including the Book of Salvation. In his argument to prove God's existence, he argued that God must exist based on necessity and possibility. He also argued that all things are either contingent or necessary. Contingent things must have a reason for existing. Necessary things cannot fail to exist. It must exist, but it doesn't need a reason to exist. His arguments and philosophies were highly influential. He influenced many great philosophers, including St. Thomas Aquinas. Another philosophical thought he had was how the soul connects to the body.
The soul is indivisible, immaterial, incorruptible, and not imprinted on matter, but instead created jointly with the body to use it as a tool to carry out physical actions. The human rational soul is an exception to Avicenna's philosophy that all creation of intelligence, souls, and bodies of heavenly spheres are eternal because it is necessarily and eternally dependent on God. The immortality aspect of the soul is eternal. However, the rational soul is proven to exist by human consciousness of oneself. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the soul is created jointly with the body. However, consciousness of self is also used to prove that it could exist separately from the body. The rational soul is unique to humans and works within the body to determine identity, morals, and acquisition of knowledge. The soul survives after the body dies and maintains all of these characteristics and is judged for its goodness to either be rewarded or punished after death. Avicenna's thoughts and philosophies on the soul are best found in his three most famous writings in regards to the soul. The first is on the science of the soul, which covers the nature of the soul and that the human rational soul is part of the soul to survive eternally after the death of the body. The second is a compendium on the soul, which explains the relationship between the soul and the body, perceptions of self, and how both external and internal factors affect the soul, such as shape, disposition, and composition of the body, as well as the soul's ability to successfully control the body. The third book is the Allegory on the Soul. This book is a poetic and symbolic story, where the soul is represented by a lost dove that must find its celestial origin before it can return home, portraying all souls as temporarily exiled from the afterlife, which in the Islamic faith is called Akhirah. This writing also emphasizes the need for a philosophical perspective on life and the afterlife.
In conclusion, Avicenna was an inspiring philosopher. He contributed to philosophy in an incredible amount of ways, including the proof of God's existence and knowledge of the human soul. In his short lifetime, he accomplished more than many people do, and he became the father of modern medicine. A good quote to summarize his life is, "The more brilliant the lighting, the quicker it disappears."